Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited. The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. There was a mass shooting that took place at a popular Southern California bar. And in this incident, 3 people died and 9 were injured as 59-year-old former police sergeant John Snowling allegedly traveled all the way from Ohio to escalate a dispute with his estranged wife who was divorcing him. And it is alleged that John Snowling, as he traveled all the way from Ohio to Trabuco Canyon, California, went into the Cook's Corner bar and went to confront his estranged wife with 2 firearms and allegedly shot at his wife, shooting her in the face, and then turned and shot at the person who was sharing dinner with his wife. And after John Snowling allegedly wound up shooting his wife and the person she was having dinner with, he then began shooting at random patrons inside of the bar and in the outside area. And as he ran out of ammunition, he allegedly went back to his truck to retrieve 2 additional weapons. And this is where the former police sergeant was allegedly shot and killed by an individual on the scene. Now, the police in Trabuco Canyon, California, are seeing this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the mass shooting that took place at Cook's Corner in Trabuco Canyon, California, it fits the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And when I look at the alleged actions of former police sergeant John Snowling, they fit that pattern for beta males who become extremely upset about their smooth world winding up being disrupted. Now, when it comes to most of these beta males, when they get involved in relationships, they are only satisfied when they are living in a smooth world. Now, that smooth world consists of no problems, conflicts, or obstacles for them, but for their partners, they become extremely frustrated with that beta male, and they become frustrated to the point where they want to leave the relationship. And that's basically possibly where his wife was feeling, because dealing with a beta male is extremely frustrating, because oftentimes these men act like women, and oftentimes these men, because they act like women, they oftentimes look for a woman to assume and anticipate everything that they want, and that makes it very frustrating for them to work with them as part of a relationship, because women are looking for a man to lead, but in many cases, these men have a hard time leading women and leading relationships, and that makes it very frustrating for their partners. And it makes it frustrating because instead of them having an interdependent relationship with a partner, they wind up in a codependent relationship with that partner, where many times these beta males abdicate their power and they look for the woman to take a leadership role. And that oftentimes frustrates many women who get involved with beta males, and it frustrates them to the point where they want to leave the relationship, because the woman, in many cases, doesn't want to lead in the relationship. She oftentimes feels frustrated and overwhelmed as related to trying to work with that beta male who does not communicate exactly what he wants and does not go out here and say specifically what he needs to be done, because he sits there and hides in the background and expects for women to fulfill covert contracts where they think that she's supposed to anticipate what he wants. It makes it very difficult for a woman to go out here and work and cooperate with a man. And it also makes it very frustrating when you're dealing with a beta male, because oftentimes, as related to them, again, not communicating very well, they oftentimes do not, again, set any sort of tone or direction for the relationship. and that can make everything overwhelming for that person. And as that beta male is going out here and living in their own world, in their rose-colored reality, where they think everything is fine, their partners are oftentimes sitting there really frustrated because they're trying to work with a person who does not really know how to work as related to how relationship dynamics work. And that possibly could have been the foundation for the deterioration of John Snowling's marriage. Yes, he was a police sergeant, but while he was a police sergeant, he possibly was a guy at the desk, not really working with people, and he possibly didn't know how to work with people at the job or with his wife, and that could have led to the estrangement of his wife. And that estrangement of his wife basically was a thing that triggered his anger, because his entire smooth world was disrupted. Because when a woman wants to leave a beta male, that's when they become extremely dangerous. And they become extremely dangerous because many beta males, they feel like this woman is disrupting their smooth world, and they also feel slighted because this woman had the audacity to go out here and decide to leave them. And because this woman had the audacity to go out here and decide to leave them, these men oftentimes get triggered in their anger. And as they get triggered in their anger, what they do is look to go out here and make that woman pay for disrupting their smooth world. And that possibly could have been the motive for John Snowling to drive all the way from Ohio to California, where his estranged ex-wife was. That possibly could have been the thing that led to him driving over 2,000 miles all the way to California, looking to get even with his wife. Because with many beta males, they will go to these extremes whenever they feel slighted. And once they feel slighted, they want to go out here and destroy the world of the person that they feel destroyed their smooth world. That is how they feel a sense of security, because they feel like they've made that person pay. Now, after John Snowling drove all the way to California, he allegedly then took out these two firearms. And as he took out these two firearms, he looked to, again, take the life of his wife. And after he thought he had taken the life of his wife and the man who had the audacity to go out here and have dinner with his wife, he then went out here and then took that gun and started participating in that mass shooting. Now, the reason I believe he participated in that mass shooting was because he basically was not expecting to survive this entire incident. He basically was looking to go out, like many beta males do, in a blaze of glory after they get revenge on the person that they have an issue with as related to disrupting their smooth world. They look to try to destroy the world around them before their life ends. And that's basically what John Snowling, I believe, was looking to do as related to this entire mass shooting. He was looking to go out here and go out in that blaze of glory and that blaze of infamy that many beta males want to go out in, because many of these men feel like their world is completely destroyed whenever a person does something as simple as say, "I'm leaving you." Now, most men out here, they do get devastated by an announcement of a spouse saying that they're going to leave them, but because these men have discipline and resolve, they learn how to navigate through their emotions. And as they navigate through their emotions, yes, they have feelings about being rejected by a spouse, but they never want to escalate their behavior to violence. What many healthy men do is just charge that woman to the game and then make a critical assessment of themselves to see where they went wrong, and then look to go out here and try to work things out with some counselors and deal with their mental health issues. Unfortunately, due to the dysfunctional way that beta males are raised, they oftentimes believe that everybody is at fault but them. And because these men are taught to feel and instead of think, they go out here looking to act on their feelings impulsively as they're seething in anger, and they're looking to make anybody pay, make the person who slighted them pay. And as they're looking to make the person who slighted them pay, they want to go out here and hurt that person for hurting their feelings. The worst thing a woman could ever do is hurt the feelings of a beta male, because a beta male will hold on to that anger and hold that grudge for an extended period of time. Now, his wife could have possibly left him a long time ago, because if she moved all the way to Trabuco Canyon, California, maybe she had left him for an extended period of time, but this man could just held on to that anger, and he held on to that anger because he felt betrayed by this woman disrupting his smooth world, and felt betrayed by this woman disrupting his smooth world, and looked to go out here and look to seek revenge against this woman. And as he looked to seek revenge against this woman, what he wanted to do was go out in infamy, seeking attention for himself, because after shooting his wife, he looked to shoot other people. Now, what's really sad, what's really disturbing about this whole situation is that he did go out here and go all the way to California to take the life of this woman, showing me, again, another trait as related to beta males and how they fixate on women and how they become obsessed with women, which is what makes a beta male an extremely dangerous partner for a woman to get involved with. Because when it comes to beta males, a lot of these guys, they have a hard time taking rejection. They have a hard time hearing no from women, and they have a hard time accepting that a relationship is over. And these guys are the ones that are the worst woman to ever break up with, because once a woman breaks up with these guys, they never know how to let it just be over. When it comes to the beta male, he never wants it to be over, because he needs to have a codependent relationship with whatever partner he has. And oftentimes that codependent relationship will go from him being a child that she is taking care of to him looking to become an adversary, because he again wants to continue fostering this codependent relationship where he wants the woman to have power over him. And when the woman decides that she wants to take her power realistically and walk away from him, that's when the beta male ironically wants to go out here and use power to try to force the woman to continue having a relationship with him. And that is where the beta male winds up becoming an extremely dangerous individual for a woman to ever get involved with. I mean, this guy, again, he will escalate. He will go out here and start his behavior with things like text and emails and harassing phone calls. And when that doesn't get a reaction, what he'll do is escalate his behavior to stalking women. And when the stalking doesn't work, or it's not possible, like in this case where the woman moved all the way to California, what he'll do is escalate his behavior to extremes by looking to travel all the way to a place like California from Ohio, because he wants to continue maintaining that codependent relationship. And what he wants to do is make the woman to be the person who he says is the perpetrator, and make himself out to be the victim. But in actuality, he is the perpetrator, because he doesn't respect boundaries and he doesn't love anyone. Because that's the other thing women need to understand about beta males. They do not love anyone. No, they love the idea of the fantasy they create around a woman in their rose-colored reality. And oftentimes, whenever these guys have to deal with the real woman, that is where these guys wind up becoming twisted, because what happens is that shatters their perception of the fantasy they created around that woman. And when it shatters that fantasy, that's when these men start to become angry, and they become angry because the image and fantasy they created around that woman shatters, and that shatters and disrupts their smooth world, leading to these men starting to seethe in anger and eventually winding up exploding in a rage, where they participate in a spectrum of extreme and violent behaviors. And sadly, 3 people wound up losing their lives as related to this whole incident. And this man, as he looked to kill his wife, didn't kill her because she was only wounded by being shot in the face. But 3 innocent people wound up losing their lives because this beta male could not cope with the concept of reality. And this mass shooting is, I believe, almost the 300th or so as related to this country, showing me how much worse things are getting as related to this man crisis. And in this case, it basically proves a gun control law will not stop these beta males at all, because this former police sergeant was licensed to carry guns that he purchased legally. But the problem here with this individual wasn't the guns. No, the problem in this situation was the man and the dysfunctional way he was raised. And this whole problem is plaguing our country. But America does not want to acknowledge the man crisis we have in this country, because many in America don't want to critique American women about the way they parent, because the way they're parenting is going out here and raising 2 to 3 generations of beta males who were ticking time bombs but are now landmines, and these landmines have been exploding at a higher frequency ever since the pandemic came along and created the lockdowns, which accelerated many people's mental health issues to deteriorate. And as their mental health issues deteriorated, many of these males who were raised dysfunctional and raised to be spoiled and entitled, what many of these males are doing is going out here feeling like their smooth world is disrupted and looking to destroy the world around them. But unfortunately, many in government, they will deflect to gun control, and they can't use that argument here, because this was a member of law enforcement, proving my point that there is a man crisis in this country, and that man crisis doesn't have to do with guns. It has to do with people and the way we raise boys to become men, and those men become people in crisis who go out here and believe that they need to participate in extreme acts of violence to not only hurt those who destroy their smooth world, but also because they want to get attention for themselves, and they want to get attention in infamy, because many of these people feel frustrated about their lack of accomplishments in life. And because they feel frustrated about their lack of accomplishments in life, and they feel like their lives are a failure, they want to get a one infamous success by looking to destroy the lives of people around them. And again, this was a member of law enforcement that participated in this mass shooting, and that should give people pause, and it should basically be a refutation of the whole gun control narrative, because clearly we have a man crisis in this country. Clearly we have an issue as related to 100 million men in this country. But sadly, instead of looking to invest in helping America's men, America refuses to acknowledge the man crisis going on in this country, and it refuses to acknowledge the crisis as related to America's men that is leading to men participating in antisocial and violent behaviors, like the mass shooting that sadly took place here, that took the lives of 3 innocent people. Now, if you want to learn more about how beta males wind up on the road to participating in dysfunctional and violent behaviors and how to prevent it, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you'd like to see me do more videos about the man crisis, you can send a donation to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant editions of John Haynes, The Man with Nothing to Lose on Amazon.com today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.